All right, let's see. My gentleman with the first one, where did you go? What's your name? Nice to meet you. Can you please start us off? Do you know what to do? I believe you just twist. Twist it really hard. Watch your eyes. Yeah, aim up. All right, I've got another one. Who's a good catcher? Somebody in the front row is coming over here. I don't want to hit anybody in the head. I'm looking at you right with the scarf. Ready? All right, I want you to pop that confetti. Carla, you pop yours too. She wasn't kidding. I'm the confetti queen. Woo! So guys, welcome to the engagement party, right? Not the boring kind, we're at the good kind. Thank you. Look at that, applause already, and I haven't even done anything yet. So like Carla said, I'm with Franciscan Children's. She and I worked together really closely for a long time, but not long enough in my opinion. So why are we here, right? We're here to learn about engagement. So I think we're all in the same place right now. We are customers of Staffbase, or we're almost there, we're vetting our options, and we need to know, what do we do next? We have this app, maybe it's brand new to us, we don't have any idea what to do next. Maybe we're coming off of some other solution that really didn't work for our organization, and now we're looking for something else. I hear you guys laughing at the confetti, and I love it. So just a little bit about me. I know Carla said it pretty briefly. I've been in the marketing and communications industry about 10 years. I know I don't look old enough to have said that, but trust me, I am. Good skincare regimen. I started really on the branding side and content creation side of things, but in the last couple of years have really sort of branched out to all the different things. So fundraising, communications, PR and media, project management, and of course, internal communications. And you may recognize that unicorn up at the top corner there. That's Carla and I. She wasn't kidding when we said we really tried to bring in lots of elements of fun to Franciscan Children's. And I feel like I can't talk about the Franciscan Children's Staffbase app without telling you a little bit about Franciscan Children's, because a lot of things probably won't make any sense unless I do that. So what is Franciscan Children's? At its heart, it was a hospital, but it was a few more things than that. So we were a children's hospital, so pediatric medical rehab, a pediatric mental health facility, and we had a day school on campus for kids with special educational needs. So knowing that we were a children's hospital, our brand was a little bit different, our culture was a little bit different. We needed an app that would really allow us to keep that culture of positivity and fun, but that would also be a source, a credible source for information sharing. Our big issue was that we had a big, diverse employee base. We had a lot of employees, and we had a lot of employees who were not able to access a computer throughout the day. And that can be tough. Typically for us on the clinical side, those were the folks who were not at a computer. They were seeing patients, they were meeting families, they were doing lots of other things. If they did have a chance to be at the computer, they're likely sharing that computer with 6 or 7 or 8 other employees, and their time at the computer is maybe 15, 20 minutes, if that. And they're having to do charts, they're having to look up medical records, they're having to do lots of things that are not checking what's in an employee intranet. So how do we fix that, right? So one thing that we knew we needed to do, again, is adopt a platform that would allow us to have fun. Again, being a children's hospital, that was really important to us. We wanted to be able to stay true to our culture, but stay professional. Our big issue was our senior leadership team, lovely folks, but had a long-standing reputation for not communicating well to employees. That really was the sentiment among the employees, and to be honest with you, those employees were not wrong. The leadership team was not communicating. Information was not coming from the top down. It wasn't coming at all. And when employees did sort of hear rumblings of things that were happening or maybe going to happen, it was always through the rumor mill. So there was never an official announcement, never anything or anyone to say, hey everybody, here's the information you need to know, and here's how we're gonna give it to you. So that didn't exist. We also needed to find a way to build trust among our employee base. We had a big staff, and we had a staff that couldn't recognize our leadership team if they were standing in front of them. So that was an issue. So how do we build trust with these folks when people can't even identify them? We also needed to make sure that we were creating a culture of transparency. People very much felt that they didn't know why certain decisions were being made, or how they were being made. So we wanted to fix that. For every decision that the organization made, especially the ones that were not very popular, we wanted to be able to have every employee say, okay, I understand why they did this. Now it makes a lot of sense to me. And lastly, we wanted to be able to make sure we could get feedback from employees. Now, this one is interesting because I don't know if you guys find this, I find it all the time. Employees give us feedback, whether we've asked for it or not, whether it's constructive or not. But at Franciscan Children's, there was this culture of providing feedback and then nothing happened. So folks would tell us something and then months and months and years would go by and nothing has changed. So that then turned into, well, why say anything? Because it doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. No matter what I say, nothing's going to happen. So that was a big issue that we faced, and that was something we needed to figure out how to combat. And again, we had over 700 employees, but more than 500 of them did not have access to a computer every day. So we needed something that would fix that solution. So what do we have on us all the time, right? Probably half of you are holding it in your hands right now, the cell phone, attached to our hips. We could not walk from our desk to a meeting without doing this. We bumped into a lot of things. It was fine. I have a bruise from doing that exact thing. But again, I'm fine. Thank you. So we always have our cell phones, and we hear that buzz or we feel the vibration, and what do we do immediately? Or if you're somewhere where you can't do that and you're in a meeting, your brain's going like this. And you're going, what was that? What was that? Was it important? Was it an email? Was it my friend? Oh, was it for dinner tonight? So we can always check those phones, our clinical staff included. So maybe they can't sit at the computer, but yeah, they always have that phone in their pocket. So we knew we needed something that would be available on a mobile app. And lastly, in 2015, Franciscan Children's rebranded. This was a significant change for us. We changed our name, we changed our messaging, we went through and updated all of our environmental graphics. And we invested a lot of time and resources in communicating that to staff for 1 week in 2015. So 3 years ago, almost exactly. And since that moment in 2015, there really had been no continued internal push to share that brand with staff, whether they were there before the change or they were brand new and coming in. So that creates issues too, right? We had people using the wrong name all the time. They were using the wrong logo, the wrong stationery. We would see articles printed that have our wrong name. That's a big no-no. So we wanted to fix that. We needed to figure out how. So what did we do? We did an employee communication survey. Now at Franciscan Children's, well before my time there, this survey was done about every year to 2 years, and the results were the same every single time. Every year it was, there's no communication, you're not good at this, please fix it, do something. And for years and years and years, nothing was done. So finally, Carla and I come in and we say, okay, hey, leadership, this has happened every single time. Let's do something about it this time. So we had people take the survey, and we promised there will be a solution. We don't know what that will be, but we will do something for you, we swear. So we formed an internal team, and we made sure that that team had people from almost every department. So we involved our fiscal department, our HR department, IT, our marketing department, everybody who would really be involved day to day with these communications. And that allowed us to sort of get a big, broad overview of the organization and say, okay, here's what every department needs, here's what every department wants, here's what we can actually do for those folks, and hopefully give them a solution that they think works. We were using SharePoint for a little bit. Has anybody ever used SharePoint before? Does anybody like it? Okay, good. I'm not bad-mouthing it. You have to like it, okay. It did not work for our organization. We had 2 or 3 departments using it, and we had about 20 departments in the hospital. So 2 or 3 is not good. And also, I don't mean to upset you, but I find SharePoint very boring. We were not really able to bring in any kind of elements of fun or our branding that we wanted to, other than, oh, you can throw your logo at the top. If you like it, I'm very sorry. Just like I said, it was not a solution for our organization. Then we got to the fun stuff, the name. So does anybody have a name for their app right now? What? Oh, my friend over here, what's the name? All right, and I saw somebody back there. We do. Oh, I love that. So we took a look at a couple successful case studies where people named their app or their intranet and people loved it. So we said, okay, folks, give us your ideas. And what we found was that things that were already in our vocabulary were the things that were popular. So Franciscan Children's had a nickname, the Fran. And everybody referred to us that way. Staff, volunteers, donors, employees. When you had to go to work, you were going to the Fran. So that became the name of our mobile app, and that name caught on. Every day, people are saying, did you post that on the Fran? Did you check out the Fran? Did you see this birthday cake today in the cafeteria on the Fran? Oh, that was great. So the naming case study was a lot of fun, but then we had to get to the boring stuff, right? Terms of use. This was brand new for us. Our employees had nothing before. We were communicating with all user emails, and we were doing probably 15 to 30 a day. And what happens then, right? Do you read them? You don't. Does anybody read those all user emails? I didn't think so, right? So I don't even have to ask if anybody reads every single one, because we don't read them, right? We saturate email inboxes, and that was a problem for us. So we had to create something that said, okay, here's how we use the app, here's how we don't use it, here's what you do, here's what you can't do. And then we had to create a content hierarchy, because I don't know if you guys find this at your organizations, but every department thinks that their announcement or their content is the most important thing, right? You're all laughing at that. You know what I'm talking about. And they're not wrong. It is the most important thing to them. But maybe birthday cake in the cafeteria today at 3 is not as important as a message from the CEO that also needed to be posted at 3 o'clock. So we had to figure out, all right, what's tier 1, what's tier 2, what's 3, what's 4, and find a balance between that content. So we considered solutions that were within our budget, within our IT capabilities, and we landed with Staffbase. So that's why we're all here today, right? And I want to talk through some of the best practices for our app. So is anybody brand new to the app? Nobody. Oh, I saw one person. Okay, great. So I think we might be kind of feeling like, what the heck do we do now? I have this thing. My employees kind of use it, or they don't use it at all, or maybe they're only using it at their desktop. They're not using the mobile app. I was a culprit of that. I was one of the last people to download the app on my phone, but I do have it now. So I would say the first thing with your app is naming it. Name your app, make it something fun, and get your staff involved. So you can host brainstorming sessions, you can have a naming contest, anything that gets your staff to participate. And your contest can be individual to individual, or my favorite is make it a competition among departments. Anytime you do a contest, you want to have a prize, right? And those prizes can be small. They can be a gift card. At Franciscan Children's, our employees get very little. So when they win a gift card for $5 for 1 cup of coffee, they're very excited. We were a bit more generous when we launched the app, but it was very easy to make our employees happy because they were used to getting so little. So even a free cup of coffee was like winning the lottery. They were very excited. Making your contest department against department creates this friendly sense of competition, and then that also enables a larger amount of people to get a prize. So maybe the department wins a pizza party or an ice cream sundae bar, which is my personal favorite. But you want to get your staff involved in that, not only to make them have some fun, but also make them feel invested. They're going to feel really good when people on the leadership team are coming to them asking for their opinions. And once your name is chosen, you want to tease that throughout. So we teased our name for about a week or two before we actually went into our launch, and we did a week-long launch. So people knew that the winning name was the Fran, but they didn't really know what they were naming. So throughout the organization, we would post signs that say, oh, meet the Fran next week, meet the Fran on Tuesday, have you seen the Fran yet? Nobody had, nobody knew what it was. But it created this buzz, it created this excitement. And it was a lot of fun to see staff sort of go through that and say, what the heck is the Fran? Does anybody know what this is? Next, you want to make sure that you plan some activities during your launch week. These will encourage the adoption of your app. So like I said at Franciscan Children's, we launched for a week. Maybe your organization wants to do 2 weeks. Maybe you want to do a month, depending on the size of your organization. What we did was made sure we hosted a few events every day of that week. And what's really important about those events are a few things. You want to make sure you tell staff when those events are with enough time so that they can plan to attend those events within their day. Now for us, we were a hospital, so we are a place that has staff on campus 24 hours a day. So that means that somebody in administration who's working 9 to 5 cannot make an event that, say, a doctor who's doing the overnight shift and goes home at 7 a.m. is going to make. So we had to be really cognizant of that and make sure that we're planning these events at times that everybody can make it. Now, I don't mean that to say you should expect every employee to make it to every event. That will never happen, regardless of how much food you offer them. It just won't, and that's okay. But what you want is to be able to say at the end of that week, I had however many events, I had 20 events, and of those 20 events, each employee could have made it to at least 2 or 3. So you want to make sure you're paying really good attention to employee schedules as we do that. And during your launch week, you want to make sure that you're designating staff to be there, to be present, and to help people sign up for your app. So we did that in a couple different ways. We had people available with iPads and with tablets. We had IT set up a stream of laptops so people could sit down and do it that way. And then if you got some folks who are really adverse to technology and absolutely terrified of apps and their phone, which we had quite a few, you can just take those cell phones, download the app for them, have them sign in, and they're good to go. They should only have to sign in one time, and then that app is always on their phone. So that's a really good way to get lots of adopters. I don't want to say you force them, but you make it really easy for them. You also want to create a mix of events, so larger events and small. Not every event has to be this huge town hall style meeting, but you should have some of those. We did a few of those, but we also had a lot of smaller events where we would just do free coffee and tea in the lobby, or we would do snack time a couple hours after lunch, and we made sure to have people from the team there and available to sign people up, to walk people through the app, and to really just help them navigate what to do and how to do it. A theme is always a good idea. Your theme could be confetti, it could be peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, it could be whatever you want, but you have to make sure that theme connects with your organization. At Franciscan Children's, our theme was dinosaurs. And it makes no sense at first, right? Other than dinosaurs are fun, kids love them. On the surface, yes. But like I said, our organization had this long-standing reputation for not being good at communication and for using old solutions to everything. Our building is old, our leadership is old, everything is old. Our building was established in the 1800s and we still work in the original building, so it's up there in age, right? So everything at Franciscan is a dinosaur. So we brought this theme in and we said, okay, you know what? We're getting rid of all of the old solutions. All of the old, extinct, outdated technology is out the door. We're bringing in something new. We're bringing in something innovative, something way better. And instead of being behind the times, we're going to change with them. And once you identify that theme, incorporate it everywhere. So if you guys can see, even our dietary staff here carved a watermelon for us in the shape of a dinosaur's head in our fruit salad. Fantastic, right? We had cookies in the shape of dinosaur bones. We got dinosaur footprint stickers and we put them all over campus. Nobody had a clue what they were other than, okay, these have something to do with the Fran. What is it? And we created a little tagline, which was a little app, big roar. And that's exactly what this app is, right? Something teeny tiny, but makes a huge, huge, huge impact. So as you're getting ready to launch, or you've already launched and you're kind of wondering, okay, I did it, wasn't really a huge thing, what do I do next? Very important, designate some early adopters and some contributors. So you don't want to launch your app and then you have 10 people sign up for it. Unless you're an organization of 10, then you have 100% engagement, great. My guess is most of us have organizations larger than that size. But we want to identify people who are ready, willing, and able to say, I'll download the app, I'll use the app, I'll contribute content, I'll do whatever you need. And you want to identify those people well in advance so that they can help you. And then they can, in turn, help others. They can say, oh, well, I've used the app, and it's great, and it's easy, and this is how you upload content. And they become your advocates. They become your cheerleaders. So now, it's not all on you anymore. You've got other people on your side who are sort of doing part of your job for you. Now, with that being said, what we liked to do is designate somebody in each department, 1 or 2 people, to say, okay, you are your department's staff-based representative. When people have questions, they come to you. You're going to know the app inside and out. So we trained those folks, those representatives from each department, and we said, here are the inner workings of the app. Here's what you do. Here's how you do everything. Now you go back to your department, and you train your department, and you do it at a time and in a way that is convenient for you. And when they have questions, they can come to you. So where that also helps is in content, right? So those people are people who are giving us the content, and they're saying, here you go, here's my story, please post it for me. Or what we want is they create their story and then they post it themselves. That's lovely. What we try to avoid is somebody coming to us and saying, hey, Lauren, Dr. Smith won an award, and we want to post that on the Staffbase app so everybody knows about it. Please write something and post it for us. We don't want that. It can work for a short period of time, but as people start to view your app as important and as credible, they're going to want everything on the app. And if you have one person in charge of internal communications and one person in charge of that app, that will very quickly become their entire job. All they will do all day is write content and post it. And if that's how you want to work it, that's fine. Again, just for our organization, it didn't work because poor Carla spent all day, every day, and all of her nights and weekends doing that for our staff. So we said, you know what? We're going to teach you guys how to do this on your own. Also, decide how much access you want people to have before you give them their access. So there's a lot of different functionality within this app. There's a lot of things you can give to people, a lot of things you can take away. We are a Catholic hospital, so we have a pastoral care department. And every morning, they send out a prayer. And it's very nice. I read them every day. I feel badly if I don't. But we had some issues with photos. So our chaplain was posting some photos along with these prayers that really were not a good fit for a children's organization. There was one that was a lovely prayer about positivity, coupled with a photo of a massacre of a tribe of Indians. So we said, okay, this doesn't really work. We want to do happy, we want to do fun, we want to do positive. So you have the option to take away adding pictures to posts. Again, your call, how and if you want to do that. What I think you will find really important is the functionality where you can decide if you want somebody to be able to send push notifications. Those are really important, and we'll get to them a little bit later. But think about that for a second. So HR is having birthday cake at the cafeteria at 3 o'clock. Do I want to let them tell everybody on their phone, hey, birthday cake at 3 o'clock? And then do I also want to allow them to send an email as well, birthday cake at 3 o'clock? I think now most of us, most organizations, and almost everyone at Franciscan Children's has their email going to their phone. So let's say HR does that. So now we've got an email in our inboxes, an email on our phone, and a push notification on our phone, all that say there's birthday cake in the cafeteria at 3 o'clock. So you really want to think about that. And it will come with time. You may not realize right away who's going to sort of abuse those types of things and who's not, but something to keep in the back of your head. So I talked about this a little tiny bit. People exist in the world who are very terrified of technology. I don't think so, but is anybody here one of those people? Does anybody here work with one of those people? Yes, I see big yeses. Okay. So how do you make things less scary? Make them fun, right? So we can do games, we can do prizes, we can do giveaways. Giveaways are great. Staff love free. Things that always worked at Franciscan Children's, they love microfiber cloths. I don't know why, but they were always a big hit. So those microfiber cloths, mouse pads were always big too. Pens, people loved free pens. We had dinosaur tails to go with our dinosaur theme, and I will tell you, every person that got a dinosaur tail wore their dinosaur tails. Carla and I wore our dinosaur tails to meetings, and people talked about us. With your games, you can be really creative here. So with those dinosaur track footprints, what we did was they led to something hidden, and what was hidden was a dinosaur egg. And if you found the dinosaur egg, you brought it back to our department and you said, hey, my awesome folks in the marketing communications department, I found a dinosaur egg. And then they would exchange that egg for a prize. And they loved it. And being a kids' hospital, a lot of the staff would take kids on those little treasure hunts with them, and they had an absolute blast. And another contest we did was a Pass the Bone contest. Again, bringing that dinosaur theme back into everything. And what we did with that is we had a dinosaur bone. It was plastic, it was not real. And we had departments, it was an incentive for them to sign up for a training on how to use the app. And we would go to them and we would train them on how to use the app, and then they would sign this dinosaur bone. So by the end, this dinosaur bone was covered in signatures. And then everyone who signed the bone was entered into a drawing, and they won the Pass the Bone trophy, which was highly coveted, as well as a pizza party for their department. And then food. Food is always a good motivator, not only as a prize, but also to get people to attend your events. People love food, and it's funny, we will see things on our app, like a meeting in this conference room has lots of extra food, go grab some. Everybody calls each other and they go and grab some. So food, food, food. This is one that I really love. So host town hall meetings. These are really great. So this would be something like this, where we get everybody into a big room and we talk about our app and we say, okay, folks, here's why we did the app, here's how we're gonna use it, here's what you can expect from us. When you host your town hall meetings, you want to make sure that you have other people besides your CEO speaking. Yes, your staff wants to hear from your CEO, but they want to hear from you as well. They want to hear from the folks who are me. That's great, the CEO uses this. How does someone in my position use this too? So look to other folks. You could have your director of HR or your VP of finance or a nurse. The nurses are some of our biggest adopters, and they use the app in some interesting ways. Yes, they share information, but they also use it for scheduling. So the nurses schedule their shifts within the app, and when they say, oh gosh, I can't work on Christmas, can somebody switch with me? All of that gets done in the app, and then their schedule is easy and it's seamless, and they avoid having to go back and forth with 200 emails just to get a shift covered. And you also want to make sure you give your staff the opportunity to to participate in those town hall meetings. So they don't want to be talked at, right? Ask them questions, ask for their opinions, ask for their feedback. Have your team there with your iPads, with your tablets, with your laptops. Have folks there who are willing and able to help them download the app, talk through the app, use the app, show them some functionality, let them do that. And then, of course, you want to make those town hall meetings fun because they can be a little boring. So we made ours really fun with Danny the dinosaur over here. He came to every single one. And in order to sort of humanize our senior leadership team, they were the ones in the dinosaur costume. Carla also donned the dinosaur costume as well. And you know what? Our senior leaders had a really good time in that dinosaur costume. They loved it. They went to visit our departments. They went to our town hall meetings. The dinosaur was at every little event, like coffee in the lobby or afternoon snack after lunchtime. And he was a really, really big hit, and people loved taking their photos with Danny the dinosaur. So we want to make sure that as we're doing all of this work to show employees that, hey, this app is important, it's really something you should be using, other people need to believe it too, right? So you want to make sure you host a message from your CEO and your other champions on your app. It can be written, it can be a video. We chose at Franciscan Children's to do a video. You want to build that trust, you want to build that credibility. And you don't have to stop at your CEO. It could be your CMO or your chief nursing officer, anybody who in your organization is seen as somebody who is valued. And it doesn't have to be at the senior level. Again, you could spread this. It could go to a director. It could go to an administrative assistant. You could go as high or as low on the food chain as you'd like. And you want to create those testimonials for your app. You want people talking about how much they love the app, how easy it is to use. You want to do that so they encourage other people in your organization to start using it as well. It will also show your commitment to improving your internal communications. Now, I want to talk about these numbers here. Like I said, Franciscan Children's had a really successful launch. We were quite surprised by the numbers, actually. So in just 2 weeks, 50% of our employees were using the app. 2 weeks is a very short amount of time. So that was great for us. I want to jump over here to 3 months later. 70% of our employees were onboarded and using the app. And just 3 months after that, 90%, actually it was more than 90%. So almost 92% of our employees in 6 months were using the app, engaging in the app, loving the app. It really, like I said, it was not something that existed for us before. So this was huge for our staff. Now, of all of those lovely numbers, 50% are active daily users of the app. So that means they're reading our content, they're posting content, they're engaging with the content, they're commenting, they're sharing it, they're liking it by clicking the little lovely heart. And 75% of these folks are reading news or stories within the first hour of getting a notification that something has gone up on the app or on the Fran. So they feel that phone buzz in their pocket, or they get an email, and they're looking at that almost immediately. So again, with our nursing staff, they can't necessarily pull the phone out of the pocket the second that it goes off. But what this tells us is the second that they get a free moment, that's what they're doing. They're checking the app, they're checking our internal communications platform. They want to know what's going on. Maybe they just want to know if there's going to be cake today in the caf. I don't know, but they're checking things, right? And it seems like this would take a really long time. A lot of work goes into it. It was 60 days from deciding to use Staffbase to our launch point. Seems like forever, but I'll tell you, there is so much work to be done within that time frame. It goes by like this. It will go by in an absolute breeze, and you will sit there and think to yourself, oh my gosh, there's no way I can get this done. Absolutely not. Yes, you can, I promise you. And the good news is the 60 days is very quick. So yes, you will be bombarded with work and you will have a ton to do, but you will have something really great to show people. So how do we build that base? We talked about this a lot, but we want to reach employees through any avenue that we can. So it's the PCs and laptops, their smartphones, their tablets. Any way that they're communicating is how we want to touch them. And we want to create an engaging atmosphere with comments, likes, shares, and interactions. And when we see that a lot at our organization is when we highlight staff and when we highlight patients. You want to update users with your announcements and locations that need attention. So making sure, again, sort of going back to those push notifications, making sure that we're only using them when absolutely necessary, which brings me to my next point, is what I would suggest is reserving those push notifications for things that are urgent. I live in New England where it's almost May and it's still snowing there. Yes, absolutely insane. But it's a really good time for us as an organization to say, hey, we're getting 24 inches of snow. Don't come to work today. And all we do is push that out to phones in the app as well as an email. And then folks know that within seconds, they don't have to show up for work that day, which is always lovely, right? And we also want to use this app to promote a culture of recognition. So this app is for our employees. It's to recognize them. It's to communicate with them. We want to make sure we're doing that. And we want people to be able to use our submissions. So that functionality exists. How we use that is with what we call Famous Frans. Twice a month, we highlight a staff member who's doing a really good job. And the way we find those staff members is through other staff. They nominate those people through a form on the app. And they say, hey, this person is doing really well at their job. Can they be a Famous Fran? And then they are. So you want to also make sure, like I said, we're continuing that engagement, that recognition, and you want to keep your messaging consistent. That's really the biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this today. Your leadership messaging, keep it coming. So don't have this really successful, really robust launch and then let everything fall by the wayside. So maybe you host a message from the CEO once a week or once a month, or you do a from the desk of, and you're just making little announcements or little things that you think people will need to know. Anticipate your feedback opportunities. So the feedback functionality is really great. I love the employee happiness tool, very easy. Smiley face, sad face, angry face, neutral face. Which face are you today? What do you think about this content? Your employees can tell you, and then you can say, oh, you know what? Carla really hated this story. Maybe I'm gonna chat with her and see what she didn't like about it. Maybe I can do something different. You want to keep your growth consistent as well. Once people start really using this app and using it consistently, they're gonna look for that content, and when it's not there, they will notice. When Carla left Franciscan Children's, we didn't have somebody to replace her, and really the content on our app fell by the wayside. And people within 2 weeks would come to our department and say, you know, it's really sad when it's Tuesday and I look at the Fran and the content is the same as it was last Wednesday. And we said, we know, we'll fix it, And we did. But people pay attention to that stuff. And you know what? That's not something that I ever would have thought. I would think, who's looking at this? Who's going to know that it's the same as it was last week? They know, and they will tell you. So also feel free to hold content contributor trainings. Help people. Show them how to post their content on the app, and let them know what kind of content you're looking for. So with that, Carla and I are available for any questions. I don't have any more confetti, but you guys can always make your own confetti, right? Confetti can be found in lots of different ways. If you guys want to ask questions privately, I can hang around in the back, and that's it for me. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your time.